Punk Jews, it's a documentary series that follows a community of artists, activists, and musicians, all doing extremely unconventional expressions of their heritage, their religion, their spirituality, that each one of them breaks down barriers and challenges stereotypes, and just being overall badass Jews.
There's so many awesome things that are going on in the city that no one really pays attention to. So we just started a project covering the people that made us excited, and were the people that we wanted to party with and hang out with and follow around. So this is the party. Here we are.
Dissonant cognition with transcendent benedictions. Go on, take more than Billboard to chart me. Divine fighter check trying to check what a sparks be.
Tonight was simply to celebrate completing production on the documentary. We threw a party back in June, which is to kick off the project. We filmed all summer long with the fairly tight budget that we raised through Kickstarter.com, and we completed production this fall, and this party is to celebrate that and to kind of kick us off into post-production.
I just had to walk through the ice in Philly to catch a trolley, to catch a train, to go to Jersey, to go from Jersey to go to here. Show your love to me for the dedication.
I wouldn't miss this for the world. Punk Jews is a straight-up movement that needs to be represented for. Everybody's got to come out to all the Punk Jews events. You know, this is, you know, we're trying to change the world out here.
What is the cause? The cause of Punk Jews is to create a space that encourages freedom of expression. No matter what kind of Jewish background, or any kind of background for that matter, you come from, you can come here, be yourself, and share whatever your art.
Punk Jews.
It's like all about freedom of expression and cultural celebration. I think we do a good job of that.
All of our songs are ancient Sephardic folk songs that we have rearranged. Something more than one person has said to me after a show is, yeah, that was sweet. What was that? And I'm totally cool with that.
I may have, I'm not going to say wasted, the year that I spent studying at yeshiva in Israel, but what I did do with it was I was very active in photography and filmmaking. And for me, it's a real blessing to be able to come back and go back to the community, give something back to Judaism, basically, through my filmmaking. And that's really the goal for me of all this. The fact that the three of us are able to make this documentary together, you know, I'm not going to label anyone, but we're very different types of Jews, and we all represent Punk Jews in our own ways. And to me, that's the most important thing about this, that the three of us represent that, and that the film that we're making shows off different stories of all the people that we have in them.
I mean, I grew up, I went to a Solomon Schechter Day School. I was brought up in kind of like a conservative / modern Orthodox kind of household between the different parts of my family, and it was obviously a very big part of my life as I started to become a teenager. So at times I would become kind of alienated by certain parts of Judaism. I would find a lot of rules to be kind of rigid and not quite make sense to me, and I would feel like a lot of pressure from different people Jewishly as to how I'm supposed to act Jewishly. And this kind of made me step away from it for many years, and kind of punk rock was something that filled that void for me as like a community and as a place for me to express myself. Later on in my 20s, I wanted to find empowerment within my Jewish identity, and I guess I kind of brought my Jewish identity and my punk rock experience together to kind of make me the fine gentleman I've become today.
I grew up, my mother converted to Judaism, and then my father started studying Hinduism. So my mother was trying to keep together a Jewish household, but the whole thing just kind of fell apart. My mother was outside, you know, doing pagan rituals in the backyard while, you know, we had a menorah up for Hanukkah while there was a Christmas tree going on. It was very confusing. So, you know, a lot of the things that I always wanted to ask and know, you know, I've been able to discover through this project.
I grew up in a very mixed household. My mother is a Baal Teshuva, my father is Reform, and thank God they've stayed together. I've gone through a series of crazy amount of different kinds of schools, everything from public school to Solomon Schechter to Hebrew Academy to a very strict yeshiva to a more modern Orthodox yeshiva to yeshiva in Israel and everything in between. And now I'm proud to be the Jew that I am, whatever you want to call that. I'm not into labels. As the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, labels are for shirts.
That's like the essence of punk Jews, showing that there is no monolithic group of people that are called Jews. We're a total mosaic.
Every person completely different. Some people religious, some people not religious, some people doing this thing, some people doing that thing. Men, women, used to be religious, not religious anymore. Some people that just don't fit into anything. They can find a place here in this documentary, Punk Jews.
There's a whole group of Jews who aren't being celebrated, who aren't being represented, and Punk Jews is here to do that.
There's no judgments, there's no agenda, and just have a good time. Enjoy your Judaism.
Unify the creation, redefine the mission. Open up your third eye every time you listen.
Anything that brings us together builds up the world. This is unity. I said this is unity. I said this is unity. That's what's up, D1.
Here's the problem with institutional Judaism. It reduces things to the lowest common denominator. It forces people into a box.
Someone asked me this question today, like, do you face racism? And it's an everyday experience.
People don't even realize that there's over 400,000 Jews of color in America right now. Black Jews, Latino Jews, Asian Jews.
There is something over here brewing and happening of a new approach.
So when I was in high school, I was introduced to this thing, maybe you've heard of it, marijuana. Where is this in Judaism?
When I got to high school and everyone was on drugs, I was like, oh, count me in.
You went into the darkness, and they say, like, in Hasidic thought, in order to get to, like, the highest heights, you have to sometimes go to the lowest depths.
Here, my Rebbe abuses me and violates my sense of self. The pain is tremendous. I want it to be different, and I'm not going to be quiet until it has changed.
Hipsters and Hasids is a juxtaposition of the two sides of Williamsburg that are constantly at odds with each other, but I show how ultimately they have so much more in common.
Shalom, New York! People know me as the comic book rabbi. The Jewish connection to the all-American superhero was not known until now.
I am the maestra of an intergenerational mob of Yiddish street performers called the Sukkot Mob.
My Yiddish yoga is, what if your little old Jewish grandmother could do yoga?
Is this Meshugana or Ra?